This is Dr. K. Jagannayaki, Professor in MBA Department, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today I would like to discuss with you all about utility, wealth and production. So these three are most important concepts of economics. So after going through this topic, the learner will be able to understand what is the meaning of utility and how to create wealth and how to produce the goods and services by the business entities. So we also able to understand about what is production possibility curve, what is its importance in the business. So coming to the introduction, economics, we know that it is one of the social sciences. So it explains about economic activities of a man. Any activity which is related to earning of the money and spending of the money is called economic activity. So almost all people are engaged in economic activities because they want to earn the money. So the main economic problem is to transform society's resources into consumable commodities by using productive technology. So that is the reason what the individuals and the society they try to utilize the resources that are available up to optimum level so that they may transform these resources into consumable commodities. So this transformation of inputs into outputs, it should be done by using updated technology. So it is a problem because human wants are unlimited and society's resources are very limited in size. So the central task of economics is to decide how much of which commodities are to be produced for the optimum satisfaction of human wants. So the availability of resources are very less, but the human limits wants are unlimited. So it may not be possible to satisfy the human wants up to maximum level, but just by considering with some of the products and services, we can able to satisfy the human needs. The firms and the households are the basic economic entities in an economy. The firms are known as the production units, whereas the households are the consumption units. So whatever produced by the firms, that should be utilized by the households. So these firms buy different factors of production such as machines, labor, raw materials, etc., and produce and sell different types of product and services to consumption units. The main aim of these firms is to maximize their profits. So as a business entity, their basic objective is maximization of profits. But for the households, on the other hand, they try to maximize their satisfaction levels from their consumption of the goods produced by the firms. In economics, a want is something that is desired, but the desires are not economic wants. So people may have different kinds of desires, but it may not be related to economic activities. The desires which are achievable and are covered by purchasing power are known as economic wants. Such wants give rise to efforts and thereby becomes economic activity. If one wants to go to the moon, that cannot be constructed as economic want, and as it is not covered by purchasing power. So that desire which do not involve any kind of economic activity. But coming to want is the starting point of economic activity. Unless until you do not have want, then there is no question of purchasing the goods and services. So wants leads to efforts and effort leads to satisfaction. So if an individual will have want, so in order to satisfy his want, he used to put some kind of efforts so that finally whatever the goods and services he want to acquire, and by way of proper utilizing of those goods and services he used to get some kind of satisfaction. Then comes utility. Utility is a measure by which a consumer's scale of preference on a good or service is quantified. So if anyone want find out what is the satisfaction level of a consumer. So they used to give a scale of 0 to 10. So based on their satisfaction levels, the consumer they used to assign some value. It can be quantifiable. So production on the other hand is the quantity obtained from the use of the efficient combinations of different factors or inputs. So based on the production quality or the consumption of the goods and services produced by the manufacturer, the consumer may quantify his satisfaction level on a particular scale. The next word is wealth. The stock of goods under the ownership of a person or a nation is called wealth. So wealth can be categorized into two types. One is personal health wealth and second one is national wealth. Personal wealth means the stock of goods under ownership of a single person is called personal wealth. For example, houses, buildings, furniture, land, money in cash, company shares, money at bank, stock of other commodities, etc., health, goodwill, etc. All these things can also be considered to be the parts of individual wealth. But in economics, only transferable goods are considered as wealth. Then second one is national wealth. The stock of goods under the ownership of a nation is called national wealth. It includes the wealth or common property of all the citizens of the country. For example, natural resources, roads, parks, railways, bridges, hospitals, public education, institutions, etc. If the citizen of the country holds a government bond, it is personal wealth. But the government point of view, it is a liability, so it should not be considered as the part of wealth of nation. Then what is wealth and welfare? Welfare means well-being or happiness. Generally, if the level of wealth increases, welfare also increases. But it is doubtful whether the welfare increases if a nation goes on creating wealth without paying any consideration to the health and mental peace of citizens, whether welfare increases. So it may not be possible. Whenever you're thinking about the well-being of the people who are residing in a particular country or a nation, people should have good health and also mental peace. That is also important. Then it is doubtful if the wealth is not distributed properly. So that is also no guarantee that the wealth may be distributed among everybody in the particular country. Then coming to wealth and income, a person or a nation consumes a part of income and saves the rest. These savings are accumulated in the form of wealth. So, wealth is a stock owned at a point of time, and income is a flow over a period of time. So, whatever we are getting by generating some kind of employability, so that is known as income. It's a continuous process. There should be a continuous flow in terms of income, but whereas wealth is not like that. It is somewhat like a stock which is owned by an individual person or a firm or a nation at a particular point of time. So that is known as wealth. Then comes production. Production refers to creation of goods for the purpose of selling them into the market. So production means creation of utility. So when a child make a doll for playing for her enjoyment, it is not called production, but the doll maker who sells these dolls in the market is engaged in production. Means there should be some kind of economic activity done by the doll maker. Then coming to the factors of production, the goods and services with the help of which the process of production is carried out are called factors of production. The total factor of production are the following. So we have land, labor, capital and organization. So these factors of production are called inputs. The goods and services produced with the help of inputs are called output. So by using these productive resources like land, labor, capital, and organization. The firms may produce some kind of goods and services. So, this kind of input transformation into an output, which is known as the finished good, either it may be a physical good or a service. Then next, coming to production possibility curve, which is also known as PPC. The PPC is also called production possibility frontier, production possibility boundary, and production transformation curve. The PPC curve shows the various combination of two commodities that can be produced by an economy with the given resources and given technology. So if you take two different products, quantity of guns produced and quantity of butter produced, when we are going to compare these two commodities, then based on that we can see it depends on the limitations whatever we have. See, for example, quantity of guns produced, there is certain limitation. But if you see that quantity of butter produced, there should not be any limitation on butter. The PPC curve always slopes downwards form from left to right. So because when the production of one commodity is increased, the production of another commodity will be foregone. So this is due to resource constraint of the economy. The slope of the PPC at any given point is called marginal rate of transformation, MRT. So up to a certain extent, technically we can substitute one variable with the other. So the slope defines the rate at which the production of one good can be redirected into production of other. It is also called an opportunity cost. It is concave to the origin because marginal rate of transformation goes on increasing. If you see the PPC graph, if the PPC curve is straight line, the opportunity cost is constant. Then only we can able to get a straight line. All the combinations which lie on PPC curve are possible combinations. And the points beyond PPC curve are impossible combinations. And shift of the PPC curve is nothing but economic growth. So whenever we are finding there is some kind of shift, the PPC curve is shifting from one volume of production to other. So that shows the growth of an economy. Any point which lies below the PPC curve is possible combination. But if the economy is working below the PPC curve, it indicates that the unused resources or unemployment. Then how this PPC curve solve the economic problems? If we can choose a point on the PPC curve, then we will be able to solve the first economic problem, that is what to produce. So since the chosen point is on the PPC curve, we are utilizing all the resources fully and efficiently. So according to Adam Smith, he identified an invisible hand which will guide the economy to reach the coveted point. The invisible hand is nothing but the price system. If the too little has been produced, the demand for that good would exceed supply. So demand is more than supply. This would push up the price of the good. This will induce producer to produce more of that good than the others. So that kind of demand they receive from the market. The next question comes up, how to produce. So first of all, the firm should know what to produce, then how to produce. So a labor intensive technique would employ relatively more labor and little capital. A capital intensive technique would do the opposite. Which technique is to be chosen? It depends upon the prices of the factors of production. If labor is cheap, then capital is expensive. A labor intensive technique would be chosen. So it depends which resource freely and adequately available. Based on that, we have to change the technique of production. The third question is for whom to produce. A commodity is consumed only by the people who have the purchasing power, who will have that capability to acquire the goods and services. When the price system decides the price of labor, that is, the wage rate and the amount of labor to be employed, it also determines the income of the workers. So that decides their purchasing power. Thus, when the prices of every commodity and every factor of production are determined, we know which commodity will go to which consumer and in what quantity. So that depends on the purchasing capacity of the consumer. Then, what is money? So, money is anything which is widely accepted in exchange of goods or in settling debts is regarded as money. So, previously we used to have barter system. Barter system means exchange of goods for goods. But barter system existed before the introduction of money. But under barter system, goods are exchanged for goods. For example, 1 kg of rice is exchanged for 2 kgs of wheat. But if two goats are exchanged for one cow, the problem of indivisibility crops up. One goat cannot be exchanged for half a cow. So barter system was replaced by the monetary system. When some commodities are used as a medium of exchange by customs, it is called customary money. For example, the use of cowries in ancient India as a medium of exchange. Then constitutes of money supply. It includes three things. One is rupee notes and coins, credit cards, and travelers' checks. The next, income. The net inflow of money or purchasing power of a person over a certain period of time is called income. For example, daily income, weekly income, monthly income, and yearly income. The next, coming to saving. Saving is defined as the income minus consumption. So whatever income you are going to earn on monthly basis or daily or weekly basis, from that, how much amount you are spending on different goods and services, that is known as consumption. So if you subtract consumption from income, then we'll get the leftover amount is known as our saving. Whatever is left in the hands of an individual after meeting the consumption expenditure is called saving. Saving is generated out of current income and also out of past income. Then comes under market. In ordinary language, the term market refers to a place where goods are bought and sold. So that place is known as market. But in terms of economics, it refers to a system by which the buyers and sellers establish contact with each other directly, or they may have contact indirectly with a view to purchasing and selling the commodity. Then coming to the functions of market, there are two types of functions. One is to determine the price of the goods and second one is to determine the quantity of goods, which is known as supply. Then what do you mean by market mechanism? Market mechanism means the totality of all markets, the markets for the all goods and services in the economy together is known as market mechanism. The market mechanism determines the prices and quantities brought and sold of all the goods and services. So we are not alone talking about a particular product and particular company or a specific service. So under market mechanism we used to include all the goods and services that are produced by all types of firms together. The next, capital stock and investment. So, investment is the increment in capital stock. Suppose we have a reservoir filled with water and there is a tap over the reservoir. If the tap is turned on, water will flow in the reservoir and the water level in the reservoir will increase. If we are permitted to draw analogy, then water in the reservoir can be compared to the capital stock and water flow from the tap can be compared with the investment. So capital stock indicates the productive capacity of the economy, that is known as capital stock. Suppose with 100 machines, the economy can produce at the maximum 1 lakh units of output. Here, 100 machines represent the capital stock and 1 lakh units of output represent productive capacity. So the capacity of the firm is 1 lakh units. So if the economy decides to increase the level of output, it has to produce new machines. So producing new machines is called capital formation or an investment. If throughout the year 50 machines are produced, then these 50 machines will be the investment for the economy. The economy start production with 150 machines, 100 plus this new 50 machines, 150 machines as the new capital stock in the next year. Then coming to the investment, there are two types of investment. One is real investment, other one is portfolio investment. Then real investment means an increase in the real capital stock is called real investment. For example, machines, raw material, building and other types of capital goods. If there is an increase in these real assets, then that type of investment is known as real investment. Then second one is portfolio investment. So according to this, the purchase of new shares of a company is called portfolio investment. So purchasing of an existing share from another shareholder is not an investment because it cannot increase the capital stock of the company. It is the savings that are invested. So in the production market, when you taking in terms of this macroeconomic framework into consideration, the Leak equilibrium will be established when the following equation holds. Y is equal to C plus I, where Y stands for the national income or also known as output, whereas C stands for consumption demand and I represents investment demand. So the right hand side of the equation is aggregate demand, whereas coming to the left hand side of the equation denotes aggregate supply. So in equilibrium, aggregate demand is exactly equal to aggregate supply. So where the demand equal to total supply. So aggregate supply or national income can be subdivided into two parts, namely consumption and savings, C plus S. Therefore, the equilibrium equation will be as follows. C plus S is equal to C plus I or S is equal to I. So in equilibrium, savings is equal to investment, but there is no guarantee that these two should always be equal. Maybe in some cases they may be equal, but every time they may not be equal. So this is because savings are made by the households while investments are undertaken by the businessmen. Their motives are completely different. If there is foreign investment, then S is not equal to I. The next, gross investment and net investment. The aggregate investment made by an economy during a year is known as gross investment. The gross investment includes inventory investment, fixed investment, net investment. So, inventory investment means the investment in raw materials, semi finished goods, and finished goods are called inventory investment. Whereas coming to fixed investment, investment made in fixed assets like machines, buildings, factories, shares, etc. is called fixed investment. Then what do you mean by net investment? By deducting the depreciation cost of capital from gross investment, the net investment can be obtained. Then this can be derived by using the formula net investment is equal to gross investment minus depreciation. So with this topic, we can able to understand what is the real meaning of utility, and based on utility how can we generate wealth, and using these things the company they are try to produce the goods and services to consume by the consumers. And also we discussed about PPC and what will be its impact on the business organization's performance. So with this I'm going to concluding this particular topic, utility, wealth and production, right? Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.